They saw him every morning before the sun fully rose, walking across the cracked concrete of the coastal auto yard, with a metal lunchbox in one hand and his daughter's small backpack slung over the other shoulder. His name was Ethan Cole, though almost no one used it. To them, he was just the mechanic, the quiet single dad who smelled of oil and seawater, who worked long hours and spoke only when necessary. His coveralls were always faded navy blue, sleeves rolled up to reveal scarred forearms, hands permanently marked by grease that never quite washed off. He dropped his daughter Lily at school on his way to work, kissed her forehead and reminded her to be brave. Every single day, people judged him without trying. The neighbors whispered that life must have broken him somehow. The new woman at the marina office, Claire, barely hid her disdain when she saw him repairing engines near the docks. She wore clean blouses, polished shoes, and carried herself like someone who believed she had arrived somewhere better than others. When Ethan spoke to her once politely, asking about a delayed payment, she barely looked up from her phone. Her eyes skimmed over him as if he were background noise. "Talk to accounting," she said, sighing. "I'm busy." He nodded, as he always did, and went back to work. Ethan didn't correct people when they assumed he'd never done anything more than turn wrenches. He didn't mention the old photographs locked away in a box under his bed. He didn't talk about the medals wrapped in cloth or the folded flag. Those things belonged to a life before Lily, before loss, before silence became easier than explanations. That afternoon, the marina buzzed with activity. A luxury yacht had come in unexpectedly and everyone was scrambling. Claire barked orders, pointing at dockhands and mechanics alike. When she saw Ethan, she frowned. Can you hurry it up?" she snapped. "This client doesn't like delays." Ethan looked up from the engine he was repairing. "I'll do it right," he said calmly. "Rushing it would cause more delay later." She scoffed. "You mechanics are all the same. No sense of urgency." A couple of dockhands chuckled. Ethan went back to work, jaw tight but expression controlled. Lily waited nearby on a bench, coloring in her notebook. She liked being near her dad, liked watching him work. To her, he wasn't small or insignificant. He was strong. He fixed things. He made pancakes shaped like stars and stayed up late helping her with homework even when his eyes were heavy with exhaustion. As the sun dipped lower, a strange sound rolled across the marina. A distant thump, rhythmic, powerful. At first, people ignored it, assuming it was just another aircraft passing overhead, but the sound grew louder, closer, vibrating through the ground. Conversation slowed. Tools were set down. Someone shaded their eyes and looked toward the sky. A Navy helicopter came into view, dark gray against the orange horizon, rotors cutting the air with unmistakable authority. It circled once, low and deliberate, then began to descend toward the open space near the docks. Panic and confusion spread instantly. "What's going on?" Claire demanded, heels clicking as she hurried forward. "Who authorized this?" Dock workers stared in disbelief. A helicopter landing here was unheard of. The aircraft touched down with precision, wind whipping loose papers and sending ripples across the water. The rotor slowed, then stopped. Silence followed, the kind that makes everyone hold their breath. The side door slid open. 2 Navy personnel stepped out first, uniforms crisp, posture rigid. Then a third man emerged, older, decorated, his presence commanding immediate respect. He scanned the crowd slowly. His eyes landed on Ethan. Without hesitation, the man walked toward him. Claire's face drained of color. "Sir, there must be some mistake," she said nervously, stepping forward. "This is a restricted—" The officer raised a hand, stopping her without even looking at her. He stopped directly in front of Ethan and came to attention. "Chief Petty Officer Ethan Cole," he said loudly, clearly. "Permission to speak." Every mouth around them fell open. Ethan straightened instinctively, shoulders squaring in a way no mechanic ever did. "Permission granted, sir." The officer smiled, just slightly. "The Navy has been trying to find you for 3 years." A murmur rippled through the crowd. "For what?" Ethan asked quietly. "To thank you properly," the officer replied. "And to honor you." Claire's knees nearly buckled. The officer turned to the gathered onlookers. "This man saved 12 lives during a classified rescue operation after his helicopter went down at sea. He led his team through 48 hours of enemy-controlled waters, injured, outnumbered, and without support. He refused evacuation until every last member was safe." He paused. He was recommended for the Silver Star. Bureaucracy delayed it. Life happened. But today that delay ends. Lily stood up slowly, eyes wide. Daddy? Ethan knelt immediately, pulling her close. It's okay, sweetheart. The officer gestured, and another sailor stepped forward, holding a small case. The marina fell completely silent as the medal was presented. Ethan accepted it with steady hands, but his eyes glistened. He looked down at Lily. This, he said softly, isn't because I'm special. It's because I did my job and came home to you. The officer leaned closer. The Navy could use men like you again, Chief, even now. Ethan smiled gently and shook his head. My mission's right here. He rested his hand on Lily's shoulder. The officer saluted. Ethan returned it perfectly, instinctively. The salute of a man who had never forgotten who he was, only chosen not to show it. As the helicopter lifted back into the sky, no one spoke. Claire stood frozen, shame written across her face. The dockhands who had laughed earlier stared at Ethan with new eyes. But Ethan didn't linger. He packed his tools, took Lily's hand, and walked away as he always did. Only now everyone knew. They had thought he was nothing. They had been wrong.